Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're here with another Hunter x Hunter review and breakdown. I want to make sure I got one of these out this week, even though I think this is probably going to be the only one this week. We're doing episode 91, 92, and 93, and honestly we have a lot to talk about because some crazy shit happened. Episode 91 kicked off with the birth of the Chimera Ant King, and it was not by no means an easy just fall out of an egg. The queen was screaming. She was writhing in pain. She actually said, "No, stop, it's too early." And the king from inside of the egg sac attached to her straight said, "Shut up," and tore his own way out. We got to finally meet the Chimera Ant King. Now, I know his name. Apparently, he doesn't get named in this episode. This is Meruem, and he, from the way he looked and the things I've seen about him, I expected him to be this like calm, cool, collected, always like above it all kind of person. But he is borderline crazy. So as soon as he's born, he doesn't even care about the queen. She's just coughing up blood. All the ants gather around. They see him. They're like, "Oh my god, the king!" They're all freaking out. Little penguin runs up, tries to go help the queen, but the king already gave an order. Said he was hungry. Make he wants a feast. But Penguin Chimera Ant is worried about the queen, who's dying, and he just takes off his head with a single swipe of his tail. Doesn't even take any effort. And then now there's blood all over his tail. He looks at Colt and says, "Clean it off." And I'm just like, I guess he's that kind of character. I don't know if you guys remember the Turtle Chimera Ant, but he tries to go wipe it off, and he gets killed too. And Meruem's just like, "No, I said you do it." So he sits there and has Colt clean off the blood off his tail. He ends up eating one of the Chimera ants and thinks it's disgusting. So Pito, Showerpoof, Montoto Yobi show up and they're like, "Come this way. We've prepared a feast for you, and we're going to serve you, our king." This is their hierarchy in action. As soon as the king's born, the royal guard no longer serves the queen. They now serve the king. They don't give a shit about the queen. I didn't realize it was to this extent. As they're leaving, Colt checks on the queen, and apparently, like a bunch of her internal organs are just crushed. So he tries to rush to Neferpito and says, "Sir, will you please come help the queen? Your ability can save the queen." We still don't exactly know the details of Neferpito's ability, but we've seen him do something to Kite. I'm guessing he reanimated Kite some way, but they start going out of the castle, and they break a hole into the castle because they have his feast on the roof of the castle. Well, it's kind of a castle. It's more like a pile of mud. We get to see Meruem flex a little bit because he like stabs the wall with his tail and then uses just the muscles of his tail to propel himself all the way to the roof. We get to see Showerpoof uses wings for the first time, the beautiful butterfly wings, and then Yopi is like, "That's cool, I want to do it," and he just forcibly grows wings. He actually like contorts his own muscles and wings pop out. So I don't know what the hell this dude's body is made of, but yeah, kind of crazy. So Colt goes over to check on the queen again after trying to talk to Neferpito. Tells him that the royal guard don't care; they only worry about the king. And all the other Chimera ants, all the squad leaders and officers are like, "We shouldn't care either. She's gonna die. She can't produce anymore. She can't reproduce anymore. Apparently, she can't reproduce, and she's hanging on by a thread. So like, we're just all gonna leave. Screw it." A few of the Chimera ant officers decide to stay loyal to the queen, but Colt sees everything just falling apart, and he decides to go and seek out Moral and Nove. And his whole goal is he is going to surrender to Moral and Nove, and pray for their help. With Meruem back on top of the castle eating these balls of human flesh, he thinks that they're disgusting. Doesn't want to eat them. Apparently, he was able to taste the nen of the rares, as they call them, when the queen would eat them, and his body craves that food. So he talks to Pito about it, and Pito explains what the rares are, and they go out actually looking for new humans. They find a village Meruem just takes a couple heads off, eats some people, thinks they're gross. Pito explains, the brain is apparently the tastiest part of the human, so he stabs a child and then eats the child's brain. He's like, this isn't bad, but it's still not what I'm looking for. And Pito tries to explain to Meruem that you can tell a rare by their aura by focusing on your aura in your eyes. And before he even gets the word out, Meruem slaps the shit out of Pito with his tail. And basically thinks that Pito was talking down to him because he already knows that if he focuses in his eyes, he can see their aura. And then he tells Pito that I actually meant to kill you with that attack. So you're a lot stronger than I thought. You've earned my respect. And Pito's just like wicked gassed about it. So it's funny the way they're traveling though. I actually didn't get a picture of it, but it showed Pito grabbing on to Yopi's feet while Yopi was flying, and Meruem had his tail wrapped around Poof's legs while Poof was flying around, and then just swapped back and forth. It was mad funny. We finally go back over to going in Kilauea, and it turns out that they lost. Gon, Kilauea, Knuckle, Shoot all show up with Kite's team, and Knuckle and Shoot enter the NGL. Gon actually breaks down, and he has this like little cat thing on his shoulder, and I guess that's supposed to be Knuckles' Nen, stealing his Nen for 30 days, so he can't use his Nen. And he breaks down because he's so frustrated with being so weak. And even as he's breaking down, behind him, Kilauea starts crying too. Because, I don't know if you guys remember, I mentioned it in the last episode what Biscuit said to him, that if Kilauea can't overcome his issues, then he needs to leave Gon behind because he's going to eventually end up leaving Gon to die. We didn't actually get to see the end of their fight, and that kind of upsets me because I really wanted to see it. But we do get to see a little clip of what happened with Gon. His interest accrued all the way up to over 10k, and I guess when that happened, that's when his Nen got sealed. He tried to hit Knuckle with a full power Jaja Ken, and it fizzled out right before it hit him. But Knuckle wasn't worried at all. Like, Gon stood no chance, and it really sucks. As they're in the car driving back, Gon's, still curled over crying. Has 30 days before he can use Nen again. Kilauea tells himself, as he's thinking, we hear him thinking to himself, that he's going to protect Gon for his 30 days, since Gon can't use Nen. But after the 30 days, he's going to leave Gon behind. And they're going to have to part ways, because he doesn't want to be the reason Gon dies. And that is one of the craziest things ever, because all he's ever wanted was to stay with Gon. The next episode kicks off with Netzer on the phone trying to gather the Chimera research team, any medical teams, and send them all to the NGL to try and help the Queen. We actually see Netzer take on a new look. He shaves, he cuts his hair, and he's got this shirt on. Apparently, he only wears this shirt when he's going to be fighting seriously. Colt is there with him, along with Nova and Moro, and Netzer flexes, and we actually get to see like veins and his muscles like bulking, and he just, he uses Ren to really push out his aura, and he basically asks Colt to compare him to the King. Now Nova and Moro are like, yeah, this is awesome, I can like feel it, like it feels like it's prickling on me all over my skin. He's so powerful, and Colt's like, you probably wouldn't even touch the King because you're not even trying to get past his royal guard. And Netzer actually gets excited. Like, he's excited to have a fight where he actually has to try. Yeah, apparently he hasn't had a real fight in years, and to be able to fight someone seriously at his age, he's hyped about it. We end up shooting over to now everybody at the NGL working on the Queen. We see we got a whole surgical team here. All the hunters are there with Colt, and they're actually putting false organs inside of her to try and fix her. And as they're trying to fix her, she starts communicating, the way she does, like kind of telepathy. But she starts communicating to the ants, trying to ask them where they are, if anybody's around. And the only thing she's worried about is how her son is. The Queen was, even in death, even though Meruem crushed her insides, she was still more worried about him than anything else because he was more premature, and all she wanted was for him to be healthy. Colt says yes. Colt tells her that that the King's out going to get things to help her recover, but in truth He's long gone, went to find his own kingdom. Apparently, reproduce with other species. And she's just like, I don't even care about me. I'm little concern. He needs to go and, start his journey. And Colt's like in tears, like all he wants to do is save the queen. But even the queen don't care about the queen. The last thing she says is she wants her servant to tell the king his name, and she names him Meruem, which apparently means the light that illuminates all. Then she's just like, I finally fulfilled my destiny, completed my purpose, and she just dies. Colt breaks down. He can't handle the fact that he let her die. He feels like he failed for a second time. And this is where we find out that apparently all the Chimera ants have some human memories ingrained into their DNA. That's how they were able to learn to talk so fast. But they obviously postulate that Colt must have been talking about something that happened while he was human. We all know what he's talking about, the death of his sister. And then some crazy shit happens. After the doctors leave her belly alone, her belly's still open, false organs and whatnot. They started shifting around. Colt reaches in and pulls out a little, about like that big, baby. It looks almost completely human. From what I could tell, it's female. And it starts crying and screaming, and it sounds like the weirdest thing I've ever heard. It sounds like a baby crying, but like almost also like an animal screeching. It's obviously a Chimera ant, but Colt vows to protect it. Moral, the big buff dude, takes his pipe out and puts it to Colt's head and basically says, can you promise me right now that you and that baby will never eat another human? Because if you can't, you might as well get out of my sight right now. But if you can, then I will make sure nothing ever happens to you or that baby. And as he puts it back, he straight says, no enemy will ever pass me. And it turns out that he was crying after watching this whole exchange and watching Colt on his knees trying to protect his mother. And then, Knuckles crying too because, Knuckles loves animals. And he's just like, my boss, my master's great. He has a soft side, must have been where I got mine from. And you get to see another side of these, big tough guys. And it's adorable. The next scene we see Knuckle and Shoot walking through the Chimera Ant fortress. And they get attacked. And from what I can tell, it's what is supposed to be Kite's body. The long hair, we get to see the patchwork face. Well, just a little bit, but I'm assuming it's Kite. And then we go over to Gon and Kilauea, and Gon, finally snaps out of his funk after a little while, and basically says that he's not going to stay the way he is. He's going to get stronger because he doesn't want to let Kite down. When Kite comes back, he wants to show him how much stronger he's gotten. And one of Kite's subordinates, I guess, partners, I forget her name. It's like Spit or some shit like that. Basically tells Gon that if Gon didn't snap out of it, she was gonna smack him herself, and that Kite wouldn't want to see him moving around. So Gon starts working out in the back of the truck, and we get like some backstory on her and like where she came from, but she's a side character. She's fodder. What mattered next was the last scene we see before the episode ends is Meruem and the Royal Guard showing up at a whole nother kingdom and the castle. And this big plot of land, and basically he wants this castle, so it ends with them going to the castle. Episode 93 started off strong, got kind of near the end, but it starts off with Meruem and the Royal Guard attacking. Meruem by himself slaughters all the guards. As they're walking in, guards converge on them, and one of them is like super muscular, and even Pito tries to get his attention, and is like, "Sir," and he's like, "I don't even have to strain my eyes to tell. He's overflowing with aura." And after he kills him, we see Meruem eating him, and after Meruem eats him, he just starts flexing his aura. And his aura like starts changing colors. It turns like a bright blue and white, and it looks crazy. And we get to find out a little bit about what Meruem's Nen ability is. Turns out when he eats somebody else's aura, he adds it to himself, making himself stronger. I don't know what else he can do, but my guess just from that is that he's a specialist, because nobody else can really do that. That doesn't relate to any other aura type. We get this last shot of him, he's approving of this place. It's huge. It's got a great view, and he wants to call it the Meat Orchard, and this is what they're going to use to basically produce humans for food. and we get to see, how he gets when he gets excited. He starts like laughing crazy. He reminds me of a Joker with a serious side. Like he's more like serious and nonchalant and aloof all the time, but then once he snaps, he just snaps. And I thought I would like him a little more, but you guys know me. I like the cold calculating kind of character, and he ain't it. He's cool, but I need to see more of him. You know what I mean? Like if I had to pick between him and Crollo as which villain I like better, I'd have to go with Crollo. Now we go back to going to Kilauea, and this is what the episode. It was fun, but it kind of goes down a little downhill for me. They get back to the place where they were staying, and we see Palm literally surrounded by probably a good like 50 Gon dolls that she just cut up because she's pissed because Gon promised that they would win and they would take her to the NGL. Well, as recompense for Gon breaking his promise, she wants a date. And that's what this episode turns into. A date. Gon tells her that he will take her out. She expects to go right now. But he's like, you know what, wait. I'm going to go train with Kilauea. We will go do this tomorrow. I want to make sure I'm ready for you. We see Gon and Kilauea working out. Kilauea asks Gon if he's ever been on a date. Turns out Gon's a kind of a ladies' man. Not only has he been on a bunch of dates with his aunt, but apparently whenever females showed up on his Whale Island, he would go out with them too. So he said that there were some ships that would come with all female crews, but they would only go out with with men younger than them. So Gon would just go on a bunch of dates, show them around the island, be all romantic and shit. While they're training, Gon gets a call from Knuckle saying that they have Kite. And Gon gets all gassed about it. He's like, yes, Kite's alright. But Knuckle makes a point to say that he thinks the enemy is controlling him. And Gon's like, it's fine, we'll fix him. Just get him over here. So he's all gassed up. He thinks everything's fine. We get a couple clips of the Chimera Ants, now more spread out, and they're attacking humans. Cheetah Boy here, I don't actually 100% remember his name, but he went to a major city and started using his speed to just kill a bunch of people. Cops tried to shoot him. He literally, before the bullets can hit him, tears off their fingers and just eats them for snacks. It's a mess. So the next day, Gon's waiting at the chalkboard for Palm. Kilauea is sitting on the side in disguise. He told Gon he was going to leave Gon alone, but he wants to protect Gon, especially since Gon's still vulnerable for 30 days. And Palm shows up looking like a whole different person. She went from being creepy goth witch chick to an actual cutie. And even Gon's just like, you look amazing. So they go out, they go eat. They're sipping on drinks together. It was kind of painful. But it is what it is. Character development. He ends up taking her to the super pretty tree in the middle of this lake over here. And they're just sitting together all cute. He pulls out a chair for her and she ends up like, nah, I don't want the chair. And she ends up scooting next to him. And Kilauea starts getting worried because he starts sensing somebody's Nen. He feels them somewhere it feels like either they just passed through or, it's somewhere kind of close, kind of far. He doesn't really know, so he decides he's not going to tell Gon or Palm. He doesn't want to piss off Palm and draw the enemy to her. Gon's still vulnerable, so he thinks he's going to do it by himself. He ends up rushing off, and we see a shadow start chasing him. He goes off to a clearing, and it turns out it's Rambo. I fucking knew it was going to be. And he starts flexing his aura. He basically starts threatening Kilauea a bunch of times. He's just, I'm going to beat your ass. There's nothing you can do about it. And I'm going to make you tell me where your friend is, because he's going to get it too. And he's like, even if you don't tell me, I'm still going to kill you. The episode ends on kind of a cliffhanger. How did I feel about these 3 episodes? I was mad we didn't get to see what happened with Shoot and Knuckle. I was pissed. I wanted to see how those fights were going to go. I like Meruem. Don't love him, but I like him. He's super powerful, kind of crazy, and the way he looks at humans is kind of creepy because a bunch of women asked him to spare their lives, and he looked at them with the craziest smile and said, Did you spare the lives of a pig or a cow just because he begged you for his life? Why would I spare you? It's just, it's gross. And then he kills the king of the nation, and Poof explains to him how it is with, kings in human society. How someone with no physical ability or anything, or any intelligence whatsoever, can become king purely through connections or birthright. And it's just, he thinks it defies logic and it's stupid. And Meruem thinks humans are dumb. In some cases he's right, but you can't just go around eating people. But the date was kind of meh. But we're through that. Now we get to see what's going to happen with Kilauea. Because when Kilauea fought Rambo before, he was already surprised by Rambo's strength. But now Rambo has Nen and he's an enhancer. So I wonder if it's going to, tie into Kilauea's personality trait where he doesn't like to fight stronger people. I can't wait to check it out. I hope you guys will be here when I go over the next couple episodes. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. If you did, please drop a like. Subscribe if you're new. I do a couple of these a week. And we are still just pounding through the rest of this series. But that's it for me, guys. And I will catch you on the next video. Later.